Hey everyone, you're listening to the Alex Files. I'm Alex,
And I'm also Alex.
and this is episode 9. Woo!
Whoa.
Whoa. Uh-oh, getting those digits up
We are one away from double.
from double. And
Double
obviously
dig.
we'll continue, but we just wanted to let you know, episode 9 feeling fine.
Episode 9. Don't take your time, because you are mine.
Which is a perfect segue into today's episode.
Yeah.
So, we're going to dive into one of our favorite genres of film slash movies, high and lowbrow art, rom-coms. Heyo, rom-coms,
Where my rom-com heads at?
rom-commers.
Who likes to, you know, get girl, lose girl, and get girl? That's like the plot.
That's the plot of so
See
many
girl,
rom-coms.
want girl, get girl, lose girl, get girl again.
Refer to girl later in the chat. Rom-coms. Well, this is a term that we use all the time. And I think it's easy to forget or even maybe think on what it even means. So I'm going to throw it over to you, friend, to kind of define what even is a rom-com?
Yes. What is a rom-com? It stands for romantic comedy, and it is a subgenre of comedy and a slice of life fiction focusing on lighthearted and humorous plot lines centered on romantic ideas.
Okay.
First used, recorded use was in 1958, so kind of more of a modern concept.
Mm-hmm.
Though when I looked into this, I did see some popular rom-coms from like the 30s and 40s that they now consider it, but I think the term came about in 1958.
That's helpful to know. Yeah, when I was doing some sleuthing last night, it was sort of funny, and this is thanks to Wikipedia, but
Nice.
it was under sort of the guise of romantic films and stories and went all the way back to ancient Greece and then Shakespeare, which is
Wow, I
wild,
love that. Shakespeare?
but I think makes sense because, some of the ones we'll mention later, 10 Things I Hate About You, and some of those other iconic 90s, early 2000s hits are, sort of retellings of these classic Shakespeare
Oh, I love
plays,
that. I
which is
cannot wait to
amazing.
hear about that. That is so, like,
That is
awesome.
so fetch.
Quit trying to make fetch happen.
So when you hear the term rom-com, what comes to mind?
Rom-coms, I think for me, it feels like the most popular movie type in my childhood and like growing up and my coming of age. I feel like those were the blockbusters and what everyone was talking about and watching. So I think of kind of my youthful past, things like She's All That, 10 Things I Hate About You, some really nice 90s classics. You've Got Mail, When Harry Met Sally. Uh, I mean, the list goes on. And so I think of initially like warm, happy, like great story ending vibes, but also when I kind of reflect and look at it under a different lens, I feel some other things.
Hmm.
What about you? What do you think of and what do you feel when you think of rom-coms?
Yeah, I definitely feel that like youthful feeling of it's like it kind of feels like the film version of your favorite comfort food, like mac and cheese,
Wow.
or like your favorite whatever it is, like burrito, pizza, just something that you're like, I just need this and my favorite rom-com and a warm blanket or ice water if it's hot. And you've got yourself like a great night or moment ahead. I think it's the yeah, I think those classics like 10 Things I Hate About You, She's All That. I think too, like Sleepless in Seattle. I know some of these,
Yeah.
like if I overthink it and I'm like, is that a comedy? But I think it is this like, it's a big umbrella and there are those comedic moments, but it's still like heartfelt and it sticks with you in a way, which is so particular, I think, to like this genre of movie. And, you know, clearly sort of trickles into our daily life and perceptions of what maybe romance and love are in different ways.
Yeah. I think rom-coms, I think really great ones that make them so great are the struggles too, the drama and the things that happen to kind of muddle that and the overcoming of that. So there are definitely, some not funny parts, but um there's a lot of breaks and you feel those funny good haha moments.
So I'm gonna take it that like you are a fan of rom-coms.
Yeah. I am. Um as an adult lately, I've been exploring a lot of different other types of genres of movies and breaking out of that. But growing up and as a youth and adolescent and a young adult, I was thoroughly enjoying them, and I still do. I don't really watch every Christmas rom com that comes out on Netflix, but I do dabble.
Oh yeah.
I watched the new one with Kristen Stewart and Dan Levy and Dakota.
I
Heck
still
yeah.
need to see that. I think there's something, even the ones that are like really cheesy, um, or the sort of made for Netflix like teen rom-coms, I just feel like they're a solid go-to, like feel good movie.
Yeah, I crave it sometimes. Sometimes I'm
Totally.
just like, I want to see this amazingly predictable, possibly cringy, campy, wonderful but dramatic experience. I want to lose myself in that right now. Kind of like reality TV escapes. I
Totally.
want to be there for a little bit. Even the low parts, I want to rise back up with them. I want to be with the main character. I want to be the main character.
Yeah, it's like it hits you in all the right spots. I think that, you know, sometimes you think you're going into a movie as one thing and you think it's going to be a rom-com, and then like what happened to me last weekend, which was or earlier this week when I accidentally watched what I thought was going to be a teen rom-com on Netflix, a movie that had just come out and ended up being like a story about two teens falling, well, I guess it was a rom-com, falling in love at Bible camp, and it was also a musical. So that
What
was
was that?
it was called A Week Away, and
Okay.
and
Did you like it?
it was, I mean, I watched the whole thing with one of my roommates, but I kept thinking, well, like, wow, like, what are these songs that they're singing? And they keep referring to him. And we had the subtitles on because, gotta have them on. I'm like, why is him capitalized?
Uh,
Oh, okay.
oh my god, how long into it did you like realize that?
That was like 20 minutes in. Like,
Sick.
oh, but you know what? Watch the whole thing. Don't regret it. Can tell people about it now. But yeah, it's like, it's always a roller coaster, but I think over the years, rom-coms have gotten more in tune with, and we can also get into this, like the realities of what it's like to date and fall in love. And while traditionally rom-coms may have ended with like a happily ever after, sometimes it's just okay to have a more realistic take, and it doesn't have to be like a total bummer.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Kind of the ones that I feel like fall into that window are like 2010 and after, like, you know,
Hmm.
you see a little bit more of like female empowerment or overcoming like not tolerating toxic behavior, and the love is the self-love at the end. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it in a very long time, but there was that movie How to Be Single with Dakota
Oh,
Johnson,
I loved that.
and that was really good.
That was really cute. I liked that
It
a
was a
lot.
solid.
Yeah.
Do you I guess, these movies like elicit these warm and fuzzy feelings, but in kind of thinking about it, like do you feel like they're overall like helpful in terms of your life or maybe approach to dating and relationships and just your take on the world, or do you feel like they're maybe detrimental or harmful? Like um yeah, I guess it doesn't have to be like a black or white answer, obviously, but
I think it's kind of the two edge of the sword, and there is benefits of it because it can be an escape and make you feel good and provide entertainment, and at the same time, it can be detrimental if you're looking at these formulaic tropes and plot lines that aren't as progressive as maybe more modern movies, to take your romantic cues from that. I don't think that's healthy, and it could lead to just like these unrealistic expectations of like falling in love, or that love is, you know, being toxic and it's still working out, or stalking someone obsessively. There can be, downsides to living your life like that. So I think it provides benefits in one way, but if you look at it in one way, it could be pretty detrimental.
yeah, I feel like and I think it depends on like the movie and
Yeah.
the plot and like what the context was like when it came out, what else was kind of going on in the world. But I think a lot of the times it can be really attractive or interesting to have this like perfect plot to watch. And a lot of the times there is something that I'm going to define for the listeners called a meet cute, which
Oh,
is
yes.
a key part of so many rom-coms, and it's essentially like this part of just consulting my journal right now. Um, so a meet cute is like a moment in a movie. It's a scene when two people who will be like the future leads, like the romantic couple, it's when they meet for the first time. And it's typically under like unusual or humorous circumstances. So it'll be like, I don't know, it could be like they like one is annoyed by the other. They meet in like the produce aisle at like the grocery store. And
Mhm.
I feel like that happens in so many rom-coms, and I've always thought like it would be nice to meet someone that way, but I also know that um life isn't always like that, and especially I think rom-coms don't often account for like the sort of like mediocrity, I guess is the right word, of dating and online dating now, especially in the midst of a pandemic, which I mean, I know that we're still in it. So it'll be interesting to see how that whole industry pivots with kind of like setting up these stories, how that even works.
Yeah, like how does Hitch during the pandemic work? And what does that look like? He's just the king of like Zoom dates and curating that stuff.
Right? Because it's like, oh, hey, like, have you been tested? It's like, I mean, in all the
Can I
ways.
see can I see your vaccination card? I mean, like, like
Yeah,
I, I don't know you that well, and I gotta be safe.
totally. It's like a whole other thing. You can't just like show up to a bar, a dive bar on a Friday night in the same way. And, it's different.
If they're at capacity, man, like I've seen places now that's like, okay, we're opening back up. We got a small back patio and we can take 25% capacity. People get those slots and they just hang out all night drinking there. And you're just in line outside and it's like, nah, it's not going to happen. We got to had gotten here at 7 p.m., but my date goes to be
Yeah, I know.
No.
No, I think, and yeah, so sometimes, I mean, while watching these iconic movies, whether they're more recent or kind of classics, it is a nice escape, I think, when you're like, well, we can't do things like we used to be able to, or maybe like dating is a lot harder or challenging now. It's nice to have this escape where it's like, oh, they're just like doing their thing.
Yeah, it's nice to like look at the main character with their flaws and quirks and struggles, and then see them overcome and find this great partner and things work out with their family. It just gives you like this sense of like, hey man, I could do that. I want to do that. That's me. I'm the main character.
Yeah, how do you think your experience and sort of relationship with rom-coms, like how did that, if in any way, like impact how you thought of like or maybe approached like the idea of like love and relationships? Did it sort of inform that in any way for you, do you feel like?
It definitely created an expectation, but it did not inform me of reality. And it created this expectation of something I don't see a lot in this modern dating age, which is effort and like
Hmm.
not this oversaturation of swiping right and mass dating and hooking up. It gives you this sense of people meeting and being interested and pursuing each other, and time passing and things going on and people sticking together. And I think that's not something that I've experienced like as a young adult and um, adult. It just, where's the guy out the window with the boombox, like
Yeah,
throwing rocks?
seriously.
Like I can't even get a text back. Like what's going on?
Right? Yeah, where is he with the boombox?
And just like this expectation that you're gonna be like wined and dined and like things work out, or also that like this guy could be super mean and controlling or toxic and cheat on you, but like at the end like he comes around. So it's like maybe subconsciously some like negative stereotypes of like you need this man to complete you as a young age in the 90s. Those kind of classic films was maybe perpetuating subconsciously something different, um but I still enjoy them. I still love them. They still bring me a lot of comfort and happiness. So do,
Yeah.
do you think like it informed or set up any expectations for you?
I think the effort or like the grand gestures, like not necessarily like a dozen rose, like I don't and it doesn't need to be like The Bachelor, but I think like um I don't know, like on My So-Called Life with Claire Danes, like
Oh,
Jordan Catalano wrote a song. Well, she thought the song was written about her. I think it was written about his like red Corvette or his car. Maybe he didn't have a Corvette. But I don't know. I guess I thought like yeah, there would be more effort shown by guys. And it seemed like, especially in my 20s, the reality was that like it was just underwhelming and that effort was not there. And it was a lot of like ghosting and like I was just, yeah, like a lot of us happy with like being given like breadcrumbs, like, oh my God, he texted me back, or like,
that word is so resonating with me.
yeah, or like, oh my God, he didn't make me leave his house at like 2 in the morning. That's so great.
Like he hung out with me once in the last 2 weeks and like told me he wanted to hang out again. Or
Yeah.
like he did this
Or
one.
like he texted me to make sure I got home okay. That's cool.
Yeah, he said good morning every day or something. Or then he didn't. Ugh.
It's like yeah, it's just it's such a contrast, I think, to what, and this is not to say that like every rom-com, whether it's a movie, and I think rom-com can also sort of bleed into like TV series, and I feel like there's been
Oh
so
yeah.
many that are
Oh
so that
yeah.
are way oh yeah, there are so
Oh
many
yeah.
that are way more realistic in terms of how it really is to be a squirrel in the world, if you know what I mean.
Oh
Um
my gosh, Alex. Can we just be two squirrels in the world together? Can we like make that
always.
our thing? Get jackets. I'll draw like a cute squirrel. We can just be two girls as two squirrels in the world.
I'm here for that. Who run the world? Squirrels.
Be on the lookout for a new logo.
Yeah, watch out for that merch drop.
I
Merch drop.
digress.
I digress. I will say that they're like I love rom-coms, like even the ones that are about falling in love with Bible camp. Clearly, I'll watch anything. But I will say that there are moments that are sort of annoying. Like
Yeah,
I feel
let's get into that. Break that
like
down for me.
so like I have a love-hate relationship with makeover scenes and montages in movies because
that's a trope. Yeah.
yeah, it's a trope and like I love them because I love seeing like all the like I don't know, it's always like cool music's playing and it's all sped up and they're like all these outfits and things.
Glam.
But then and they're glam, but again, going back to our last episode about body image, it's like why did she had to get Mia Thermopolis, like why was her hair chemically straightened? Why couldn't she just like be herself?
Ugh. Yeah, and like why wasn't she good enough like as she
Right?
was, or why does she have to change her style to be accepted and desirable?
Like she's all that. She's all that.
Yeah, Miss Congeniality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like even in Mean Girls, totally like she ditched.
Oh yeah.
Oh
100%.
yeah.
And that's the trope, the ugly duckling to the swan. And it's like I think that's very harmful to like look at something represented on TV, look at yourself and say, okay, I don't fit that. I'm not going to find love. I've got to change.
right?
No one's going to love me as me. And I'm like, eee. I love a good glow up. Do what you want with your vibe.
Totally. Like get your cap teeth, but like not for me, not today, Satan, Unless you're, Call Me by Your Name music video.
Call me by your name. Dude.
That's another kind of rom-com.
I tell you
Seriously.
what. I tell you what.
Another, I guess, and I don't know if this is so like prevalent or like spelled out in more recent rom-coms, but when the female lead has to choose like her career or the guy, it's really annoying to me. That's the thing.
Yeah, and it's like a bad thing that she's like obsessed with her job and she's heartless,
like a workaholic
because she's dedicated and works hard. If that was a man in the movie, we would not be portrayed as a bad husband. It'd be like, wow, he's working for his family. It's like, well, I don't have to drop my whole job to be your wife and baby maker.
Right? It's super weird.
What a concept.
What other like tropes, when you were sort of doing your deep dive, did you come across or like did you think of when you were sort of like reflecting on, I don't know, the rom-com thing?
The tropes. Yeah, I wanted to look into that. So I kind of looked up. I was like, I know they're out there. I know there's like the manic pixie girl, but like what else, like especially from like the 80s and 90s were we like being sold. So the main ones are like damsel in distress, like a woman needing to be rescued by this guy. See Roman Holiday or Pretty Woman. The career obsessed as like a crime, like Hitched. And the ugly duckling to Swan, she's all that. Miss Congeniality, that makeover made her lovable. And then the overlooked good girl. She was there the whole time, like 27 dresses, or he's just not that into you. So I don't know, there's this, I forget the name, but there's this test that starts with the B.
Oh, the Bechdel test.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like not passed by many rom-coms. Like a lot of the focus is the woman only talking about the guy. So
yeah, it's like where there are no scenes, or I don't know if it's a certain number, where like the female characters are talking about something other than like their male love interest.
And you'd be surprised and floored. I hope floored when you realize like how many movies fail that test. And I kind of always think about that when I watch a movie. I'm like, did that pass?
Right?
Um,
I know.
we got other stuff going on. Like we can do love and make our choices with having children and career and self-care.
Right?
We got time management for that. We don't have to just be identified as one thing. So that's the kind of downside of tropes is it feels like a stereotype of like this is what a woman is and this is her role and this is how she experiences life and this is what we should take away from that. It's evil, it's this, it's that, and it's like, you know, women and people are so much more dynamic than that. It's not fair to boil it down into a way that makes us dependent on another individual, like a man or somebody.
Totally. And I think there's also like, and this might go, it's sort of aligned with like the like good girl like stereotype who was overlooked, but and it kind of blends into workaholic. I don't remember the name of the movie, but I watched a movie last year in quarantine that was like with Rachel Lee Cook from She's All That, and she's like now, in real life like a lot older, but was in a rom-com, and her character was like a workaholic who like was so just, I don't know if delusional. She's sort of like a space cadet, just like aloof. And when she did get back into dating, like she didn't even know, like, not that she needed to know what the term ghosting was, but she didn't even understand the concept. Like, I feel like that concept is so relatable and can apply to so many situations outside of like romantic connections and dating. But it was like she was dropped in from another planet and just like, huh? I'm like, why does she have to be so like out of it and kind of dumb?
Yeah, can we like give depth and substance and power and intelligence and skills to female leads? Can we get more female leads? Can we have more
Right?
conversations other than like the dudes?
Yeah. There's gotta be, yeah, when you brought up the Bechdel test, um, yeah, it just makes me sort of question all of these movies, but at the same time, like, you
That's what
know,
this is. It's about romance and it's kind of that stereotypical role, but it's the the predictability and formula that creates that sense of ecstasy and fantasy and bliss of like, I go out in the world, I put my AirPods in, I'm listening to a song, walking down the street, got an outfit on, and I'm like, you know what? Now I'm the main character, and that ex, he was just the beginning of my movie, and I'm about to go do my fabulous upcoming thing, and it's like
right?
gives you that hope of like this could be me overcoming something, and even if it's a terrible stereotype, it's like relatable in some part. We've all felt left out or not good enough or too this or too that, and whether it's valid or not could be relatable.
And I think like this idea of being able to put your AirPods in and like walk down the street and your life is a movie and it's all good is great because so often, I mean, all the time as women, we have to worry about walking down the street in broad daylight and like something's going to happen. And in the sense
Yeah.
of a rom-com, it's like our safe moment to just be like, we're in a movie.
Gonna have my cute. I'm gonna have my meet cute when I get cafe. My favorite kind of
When I
coffee.
get cafe.
On my way to work. Did I say when we get cafe? Yeah. When we get the cafe.
I loved it. Do you have any, like, I know we mentioned some movies from our youth that really stood out. Do you have any like tried and true like go-to movies that you, if you're ever, whether you're like happy or sad, I feel like these are films that just are feel good either way, whether you want to like wallow in that sadness or be like, oh my God, I need an escape, whatever the feeling is, or I'm in love, let me watch something that like reminds me of it.
Oh, I like that. Um, I'm gonna say I have some standouts that are kind of ones that really impacted me in the moment when I watched them, and at that time in my life, I revisited them a lot. That changes throughout the years, so some of those for me that hit really hard were this one with Jack Nicholson called As Good as It Gets.
With Diane Keaton, is that
I
right?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the movie like twice when I was a kid. I
I
loved it.
feel like yes, that's an iconic one.
Right? Okay. Um, she's all that. It just hit really hard for me. I love like just the high school outcast gets a chance to be accepted, though it is a negative stereotype that she has to change, yada yada yada. Um, as a young little girl, like 11 to 14, I loved Mary Kate and Ashley, and they had some like rom-com movies like Passport to Paris
Love.
and Winning London. Love that. Everything worked out. They both found a guy. Um, moving up in my adulthood, 50 First Dates really did it for me. I was thinking
Hmm.
today, I was like, would somebody spend that much time, make me a video, and every day just like live life with me in the present? That's like beautiful. And then
Oh,
finally, uh, possibly a controversial statement here, but I'm going to go ahead and say that Shrek is a romantic comedy
oh
that
yeah.
I like live my life by.
I
Just
love that. It is a romantic
Shrek
movie.
goes
It's a
so hard.
rom-com.
So those are the
Yeah.
big hitters for me. Um, what about you? Do you have ones that you are just like your mac and cheese comfort food, or that made like a
Oh.
really lasting impact as like as a kid or adult?
Well, one, I just want to say I love thinking of Shrek as a rom-com or like
It just hit me today. I was like, wait a second.
it is.
He's
I
this
mean,
grumpy old guy. Ben's his father. Fiona comes along.
yeah. Oh,
Donkey too. Donkey softens him up.
yeah.
And in the
Oh,
morning,
donkey.
we're making waffles.
Waffles are the best. Um, I think, I mean, some of the ones I feel like I was introduced to early, maybe in like middle school or junior high by my parents were, I mean, some of these are like deep cuts, but Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, I've seen that. I love it.
So good. And it has like the San Diego hooked because it
So
was
good.
filmed at the Hotel Del Coronado, which is
I
exciting.
did not know that. That is so amazing.
So that's fun. And then I remember we
Yeah.
watched as kids, and I haven't watched in a really long time, but we watched Moonstruck with Cher and Nicolas Cage.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I've seen that. Does he wear leather pants?
Probably. He also has like no hand or something. Anyways,
Oh,
it's
I have not
great.
seen that.
And I would highly recommend.
Okay,
And yeah,
writing that
Cher's
down.
in it. Um, I think too, yeah, like standouts, definitely She's All That. Also Clueless, though I feel kind of weird because it's her like stepbrother.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw Clueless out. I'm gonna say that's a good solid standout for sure.
Right?
Um Paul Rudd, Yellow Plaid. I mean, what else do you
Right?
need?
And like Brittany
Just
Murphy.
Brittany Murphy, um, the guy from Scrubs. I mean, there's
Yeah,
just so much. I'm
there's so
sorry I
many
can't
good
remember
moments.
the name right now.
I don't, yeah, and like just a lot of things like learning how to drive, merging on the
And
freeway.
just so quintessentially 90s at its most peak, cool, fabulous aesthetic. It's just like capsulated it in that movie, in the fashion and the style and the music.
Yeah, like rolling with the homies, like when she gets mugged, when
The
Alicia
hats.
Silverstone, the hat.
Oh yeah, that was so sad.
I know, but luckily Paul Rudd saved her, so it was all good. That movie was great, and I think more recently, like there obviously are so many Netflix movies, which some of them are very cringe, but I really loved, and I think they're based on books. I loved like the To All the Boys I've Loved Before
Oh,
movies.
I heard that's huge. I haven't watched it yet, but I think that a lot of people love that. Yeah.
Would recommend. It's like this sort of, she's not nerdy, but she's definitely introverted character who loves baking, and I think her mom passed away, and she just writes letters to all these former crushes of hers and then never sends them. But then, like, spoiler alert, her little sister sends them. And there's been like three
Why?
movies in the franchise, but it's great and like, yeah, super cute.
Is the actor named Lana? She's
Yes.
super awesome and like just rocking it and being a great like role model and
Yeah.
actor. Yeah, that's
Love
awesome. I
that
should
love
check it
that the
out.
kids have
And
this.
Noah Centineo
Oh yeah. Noah
something.
Centineo or Centino. He's a cutie who's very funny.
I can't wait. I like. I'm in need of a good rom com.
Rom-coms are, I think, important now more than ever.
Give me that weighted blanket hug. Give me that
Right?
comfort. And with the modern twist, there was, I forget the name, but there was one with Amy Schumer recently, a couple of years ago, that was really good. And that kind of empowering self love thing.
Oh yeah.
She's also hilarious.
I Feel Pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Do you have any like standout lines that sort of stick in your head from these films?
When Harry Met Sally, the iconic Meg Ryan cafe scene, and then the lady behind her goes, "I'll have what she's having." Um, I have to think on that. What about you? Do you have any like immediate like quotes that come to your head?
Um, I feel like I'm gonna misquote it, but the line when Julia Roberts is, in Pretty Woman and she's like going back to the store and she's like, big mistake, huge, or
Yes.
whatever, with like, because they like wouldn't show her like the bougie like designer dresses. And then
They wouldn't even
suddenly,
like help her.
yeah, they were
They
just
were
like,
judging her.
And then suddenly she has access because she like got that sugar daddy and
Zaddy.
she had that zaddy. And then, yeah, big mistake, huge. There are some moments, but yeah, I mean, that's the one. And that's not even like one of my favorite or go-to
Which
films.
one is it? Notting Hill, or like which one's the one where they're like, "I'm just a girl standing in front of a guy,
Oh yeah.
telling him that I love him." I
Or
forget what
like
that's from.
oh wait, you complete me. I feel like that's from Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Um, I don't think
I
I've
know.
seen that one.
Well, I don't know if that's a rom-com. Maybe. It is, maybe.
I
It's
it,
Tom
I think it
Cruise.
is. When I was looking online, I think it is. I haven't seen his entire, uh, cinematic collection of work, but
That's fine, I think. You don't have to watch the entire Scientology catalog.
I think, yeah, right. I think Adam Sandler has a lot of good like rom coms, and like Drew Barrymore, Never Been Kissed. She's been really good.
Oh,
Romy and Michelle's high school reunion, maybe.
oh my
Like
gosh.
so many like fall under this. Like in the 90s, 2000s, like this was what was a hit, other than like action movies or comic
Right?
book heroes. It was like so huge. So I'm wondering, actually, like in your opinion, do you think that these rom-coms are as present and mega hits and blockbusters as they used to be, or are movies kind of changing? Because they used to be like all the rave.
I feel like, well, it's hard to say in this past year, but I feel like in the 90s, maybe 80s and 90s, they seemed like they were the biggest movies. But now I feel like, I don't know, it's like all the Marvel movies or whatever are like the biggest, and
Yeah,
like
which
I
I
get it.
don't really care about. Like,
Like,
what's an Avenger? You're a
yeah,
team
there's
of
just,
superheroes. Okay.
it's a lot. Like, it's a lot to keep up with. And that's great for that thing.
If that's what your escape is, and you love that, we are so happy for
We
you.
love that for you.
We
We
love
do.
that. We love that for you.
We love that for you. And I think that, like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know that they hit the same as they used to,
That
but
that campy tropey vibe, I think, is
mhm,
gone. That
yeah,
was a time in cinematic history that's no longer present because of modern dating and progression, and stereotypes and women's rights and things of you know just being more inclusive and aware, and not perpetuating these things, and like you said earlier, like having these stories where maybe the happy ending doesn't involve the guy.
totally. Like maybe you know, the girl just ends up like alone, but she's okay. Like It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and leaving the guy who cheated on her and was living off her for free. Like, bye.
Right? And she learned something and like became a better person and a stronger person from it.
Yeah.
I think
Self-love.
that a lot of the times, maybe less so in movies, but more in like series, like TV shows and things that are sort of under the rom-com umbrella, it feels like there's more opportunity to like have a more realistic view or story of what it's really like to be like a woman in the world in terms of like dating and relationships, maybe versus like a movie.
Yeah. I like that. And then there's more episodes and it plays out like the complicated narratives and the ins and outs of like, how do we get here? And
Totally.
what else is going on that contributes to that? And I like following those storylines.
What my last question for you is, if you were going to have a rom-com about your life, or just like you could come up with a plot, like who would play you?
I would like to pull Zoe Deschanel. I know
Love.
I don't have blue eyes. I know that. But she's got that quirky, like genuine, and like the hair, you know.
She's so cute. And like
New Girl made me feel
New
seen.
Girl, and
It made
I
me
know
feel seen for being awkward.
New Girl is amazing. I also know that like it had its moments, but 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah, I know. And I know there's BuzzFeed articles about the toxicity and brokenness of that. And at the same time, such a great one.
I mean, that one sticks with me, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like if I was a trope, I'd be the manic pixie. Yeah.
Right?
I'm not like the girl next door. I'm not the the popular one, and I'm not, hopefully not the damsel in distress. Or hopefully not the ugly duckling. Maybe a little bit like.
Or I think we all are.
But I like vibed myself up. I grew. You didn't give me like a 60-second montage makeover.
Like, hey, I love Zoe. I love Zoe playing you.
So like super curious, like who are we reaching out to hire for you?
Oh my God. I don't know.
Were you not prepared to answer this question?
No, I only was prepared to ask it.
We gotta. I gotta know.
I just flipped the switch. Who would play me?
I know these people, but like I don't know them by the name.
Okay. Do you want to describe them?
No, I don't. I don't have that.
I don't have that information.
I'm just saying, like, I'm like going through my catalog and a lot of faces. I'm not able to come up with a name.
Like you don't remember what they're from.
Right. Hold on. Sorry to put you on the spot with that.
No, I mean, I should have thought on who my person was.
We might have to do like part 2, and like
we might have to do part 2.
We'll just do like an update, quick update.
Yeah, we'll do like
9.
Okay, we've thought on it. I know.
I've clearly thought on this before.
Well, yeah, you have. I have not. I really need to think on this. Whew. Okay, we'll circle back in the words of everyone's favorite Zoom meeting.
We're gonna put a pin on this.
We're gonna put a pin in this, and we're gonna come back to it.
And if you have some suggestions, we're on Instagram, the Alex Files Pod. Look us up, add us, comment, DM us, like whatever. We'd love to know like what you would cast Alex Morales as in a movie.
Totally.
Who?
Open to suggestions. Love all.
I also want you to do some personal reflection and thinking and let me know. I will do the same. We'll reconvene.
Okay.
Maybe there's someone else out there for me too. Like I don't know, but like
I'm excited. I'm excited for this. Do you have any parting words, Ari rom-coms for our listeners?
Well, I'd really like to circle back to the notion of they can create really nice entertainment and happy, euphoric feelings that make us feel good, and that's great. And at the same time, they can perpetuate unrealistic expectations of what love is or what we should tolerate from love or try to perpetuate as love. So, watch with a grain of salt. I wouldn't say necessarily take your romantic cues or compare yourself to what you see on the screen. Just enjoy the ride. And if you relate, that's great too, because you know what? You are the main character of your life. Any song you put on in your headphones is the theme song. And
So
let's
true.
go.
And let's go.
Let's go.
And let's go. I agree, 100. And I would say, they're entertainment, and they are also heavily produced by a whole team of people, and we get to enjoy them, and they can inspire vision boards maybe of what your ideal partner looks like. But at the end of the day, you gotta love yourself first and find someone who loves you and gets you. And you cannot accept getting a text back as the highest compliment in your relationship. You deserve better. So, but also not every guy, I don't know, standing outside with a boombox, it's just hard to coordinate, So I would say just have a realistic balance. But, I think still at the end of the day, it gives us hope and makes us feel good things. And take that grain of salt and just sprinkle that Himalayan salt on your brain, or maybe not on your brain, but take everything with a grain of that bougie salt, because you deserve it.
Wow. That salt do be hitting different.
Do be.
Yes. So much yes. Yes. That's it.
Wow. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Alex Files. I hope that you all take a dive into the rom-com world as it is. You have endless films and series to watch, and this has been so fun. We hope you're here for the right reasons.
Yeah. We really feel this connection. We're feeling like you could be the final rose. I need to know you're here for the right reasons. So thank you for tuning in. You are the main character of your rom-com, and if it's feeling really shitty right now, well, the movie's not over. Keep going.
The movie's not over.
And next time we're turning 10 episodes. We're getting double dig. Whoa. Can't wait to see you there. Who knows what, file we're going to pull out of our cabinets.
Fire. See you in the cabinets. Bye.
Bye.